Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash, right? Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles at Great Millstone. Um, Peace, blessings, and honors to all the brothers in this truth. Spreading this truth and righteousness. The Lord is my light and my salvation. You know, um, this lesson is I believe I'm going to name it like who's more mightier than the Most High. Really, my inspiration for this one just came from reading through the book of Job. Actually, at camp, me and the brother, we was talking about this about Job, and we was like, when you're fighting those demons or you're going through it a little bit, Job is a very good book to read in order to give you more oil, to give you more faith. Job is a very good book to read, man. It can help you get through tough times while you're in this truth. So I was reading through Job, and I got to like chapter 37 and 38. I'm just going to bring out those two chapters real quick to show that, with all these people in these different religions, you got atheists, you got people that believe in like scientific findings and stuff like that. No matter what field you go into, you're never going to find any solution or anything that's more mightier than the Lord. I mean, than Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai at the end of the day. And these things are listed in Job, and the world hasn't to this day been able to do these things, man. Which shows that nothing that man could create is more mightier than the Lord, and never will be. So I'm gonna jump straight into it. This is Job, the 37th chapter. I'm just start at verse 1. It says, "At this also my heart trembles, and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noises of his voice, and the sound that goes out his mouth." Just talking about the Lord. "And he directeth it under the whole heaven," right? So under the skies, and his lighting into the ends of the earth. No man have been able to create like different ways to channel the electricity and stuff, but man can't make lightning come out the sky. They have nukes and stuff like that, but can you make lighting come out of the sky, like in all these different places at the same time, the frequency that the Lord could do it? Can you create lighting from nothing? Man could bring electricity and stuff like that, but lighting is a whole different thing, because a lighting bolt is so powerful and so strong, and everything, the energy of it. Man can't do that yet. It says, after this verse 4, after it a voice roareth. So that's the thunder. He thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them when his voice is heard. God thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. Right. So to this day we still can't comprehend it. Scientists try to put different titles and stuff on it, but they can't really comprehend it, man. They're winging it. Verse 6, "For he say to the snow, be thou on earth," right? "Likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. He sealeth up the hand of every man, that all men may know his word. Then the beasts go into dens and remain in their place. Out of the south cometh a whirlwind, and cloud out of the north," right? By the breath of God frost is given, and the breath of the waters is strengthened. So today scientists have different names for these things. They try to explain, okay, why the snow comes down, why the rain comes down hard, why the rain comes down light. But the thing is if you were to take them, right, this is the crazy thing about it. If you would take those same scientists and you take away everything that the Lord created, and let's just say put them somewhere, anywhere, and tell them to create this whole earth all over again, they wouldn't be able to, man. So even with their glory that they think they have, and their understanding they think they have of why different things happen, they are only able to figure those things out based off the elements that the Lord created. You see how that worked? So the Lord created the same elements that they that they create their different instruments and their different tools with in order to measure these things. So it comes full circle. You need the Lord. Nobody is mightier than the Lord, right? For example, they could create a rocket and send it into the high atmosphere, into the heavens, right? But the material that they use to create that rocket is the material that the Lord created. If you could get that. So at the end of the day, it all goes back to the Lord, because they can't create these things without using the material that the Lord created in the first place. You see how that works? Continue reading. Also by this verse 11, also by the watering, he waters the thick cloud, he scatters his bright cloud, and is turned around about by his counsels, that they may do whatever so he commandeth them upon the face of the world and the earth. He causeth it to come weather for correction and for his land, or for mercy. So the Lord could make it be a drought, and there's no watering of the plants, and there's a famine. He could make a place be very fruitful and multiply. Man can't do that. They're trying to manipulate it now. But like I said, even the things and the tools that they're using to manipulate it, those things are made out of materials that come from the earth that the Lord created. So it's still full circle, right? Jumping down verse 16. Dost thou know the balancing of the clouds and the wondering works of him which is perfect in knowledge? No. Jump into verse 18. Hast thou with him spreaded out the sky which is shown as a molten looking glass? Have man created the firmament? Nah, man. Man can't even pass it, They call it the radiation belt or whatever. They call it, but man can't really even pass it to really go into the upper heavens, to go into what they call space. That's all a lie, man. They talk about going to the moon. They never been to the moon, or they'd still be going to the moon to this day with humans. So that shows you that even something like that they're not able to do, But the Lord could do it easily, I'm gonna jump to chapter 38. Starting from verse 1. Then the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind and said, who is this that darketh counsel by the words without knowledge? And when it's talking about that whirlwind, it's talking about what you're seeing on the screen, those chariots. They move fast like a whirlwind. They could come, and the Lord answers from these chariots, just like it's sitting in the sky right there. They can hear a voice come out of it, and it's the Lord that could directly contact man or beam man up. And you're going to see that with the 144,000 elect man being beamed up. Verse 3. Girdle up thy loins like a man, and I will demand thee that answer thou me. Where was thou when I laid the foundations of earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. So where was man when the Lord created earth? Before he had created man. You got all these atheists that say they don't believe in the Lord. You got all these scientists that say, nah, the Lord don't. They're atheists too. They say the Lord don't exist. Everything could be explained. But where was you when the earth was created? All you could do is speculate. All you could do is speculate on what you think happened when the earth was created. But really, no man was there. You wasn't there when the earth was created, so you don't know. The only true understanding we can know what happened when the earth was created is what's here in the Bible, because this comes from the Lord. It's inspired by the Lord. So the Lord came down and gave man these answers and said, look, in Genesis, this is what happened when the earth was created. First day, all the way to the seventh day. Who has laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest, or who has stretched the line upon it? So who really knows the measures of the earth? They give you an answer and try to tell you what they think it is, but it's not 100% accurate. And they tell you, no, this might not be 100% accurate. Verse 6. Whereupon are the foundations thereof fasting, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? So who really knows what's really inside the middle of the earth? What they would say, or the foundations of the earth. When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shout out for joy, or who shut up the sea with the doors when it breaketh forth, as if it had issue out of the womb? So even when the Lord, with the first death, when the Lord flooded the earth, who made those waters recede? Who took that flooding away? Why wasn't it just flooded forever? No, who was able to do that? Who's able to do that to this day? Nobody, right? They make dams and stuff like that to try to keep water from flooding into the city, and as we see, I think what just happened in Detroit, they can't even do that right. People losing their homes, and homes are getting flooded and stuff like that. Verse 9, when I made the cloud, the garment thereof, a thick darkness of swaddling bands for it, and break up for it my decree place, and set bars in the doors, and said, hereto shall thou come, but no farther, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. So the Lord directeth the water and say, okay, you could come here, you could flow here, you can't flow here. You know, you can't flow on this land too deep. You know, that's the Lord doing that. Verse 12, has thou commanded the morning star since the days, and caused the day spring to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it. It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment, right? Let me jump down to verse 18. Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare it if thou knoweth all. So when a man trying to say he don't believe in the Lord, or he's mightier than the Lord, he knows more, or the scientific different things and stuff like that, ask him, what's the breadth of the earth? He don't know. He can't give you a real answer. He could guess, he could wing it, but he can't give you a real answer, man. Where is the way where the light dwelleth, and as for the darkness, where the place thereof? So where does the darkness and the light meet? You know, you could try to find that out on earth. That thou should have taketh it to the bounds thereof, and that thou should have knoweth the path to the house thereof. Knoweth that thou it, because thou was born, and because the number of thy days is great, right? Verse 25, who has divided the water course for the overflowing of the waters, or a way for the lightning of the thunder? So like the waters flow in certain different directions almost perfectly to where they don't flood certain places. You can't tell me that's just a coincidence. You know, that it was made that way, it was directed that way, because they say the earth is what? Mostly water. So why don't all that water just overflood all the land, and it just become nothing but water? Well, it's because the Lord is directing the waters. The Lord is keeping all that in check with his angels, you know. So you got to deal with that. I'm gonna jump to verse 31. Canst thou bind the sweet influence of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring it forth Mazzaroth in his season, or canst thou guide Arthurus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinance of the heavens? Canst thou set the dominion thereof on earth? So this talking about the heavens and like the stars, the constellations and stuff like that. But the thing is like, can you count every star in the sky? Can any man with a straight face tell you how many stars are in the sky? Or can any man move the stars? So with Orion's belt, could any man go up there and move Orion's belt? No, you can't. The Lord could if he wanted to, but you can't, which shows that you're not mightier than the Lord. And if you can't do that, that means that nothing is more mightier than the Lord. Unless you could do it. Can you do that? Can anything that you know, can it do that? No, man. So you're not more mightier than the Lord. Verse 34. Can thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Can if thou send lightnings that may go and say unto thee, here we are? So can you just shoot a lightning bolt anywhere out the sky, in any time, any place where you want to? No, man. Man can't do that. Hast thou put wisdom in thy inward parts, or has given understanding to thy heart? No. Who can number the clouds in wisdom, or who can stay the bottles of heaven? You know what? I'm gonna stop right there, because I mean that's the perfect ending right there. Like, who can number the clouds in wisdom? That's a challenge right there. What man on earth? Because, you know, a lot of people like to look up to these different mans, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, you know, these different false leaders like the popes, or, you know, their presidents and stuff like that. All those men that everybody like to look up to and worship, and their false idols and stuff like that. Could any one of those men's number the clouds? Tell you how many clouds are in the sky right now today? The answer to that is no, and that's the same answer. Is any of those men greater than the Lord? Well, the answer would be no. So who should you follow? You should follow the Lord, the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. So if that don't humble you and put you in your place, that's because you're wicked, man. So when this book tells us to do something, when it tells us not to eat pork, the dietary law, don't eat pork, man. Because if you can't number the clouds of wisdom, then you shouldn't even question it, man. Do what the Lord says, you know. Follow the law, statutes, and commandments, you know. I'm going to leave it at that. Shalom, salvation to the elect. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Shalom.